we are going to talk about Canva today, obviously. I want to focus on slideshow items, and then there was a suggestion about having creating like YouTube thumbnails, because we all know you can upload YouTube videos, or not, technically you upload them to the media library, but they're still being streamed through YouTube. Uh, and there was another solution of using an image as kind of a stand-in for, instead of uploading that video, we can create an image and just hyperlink that. So let's go ahead and jump in. I have a couple examples here. I want to make sure we all probably know the dimensions that we recommend for a slideshow item, 800 by 400. But it's really the ratio, I guess, that matters the most. 800 by 400 is probably the smallest you want to go. Anything smaller, like if you went to 600 by 300, that's still the same ratio of 2:1, but it may be a lower quality. So going higher could still give you the same result as 800 by 400, as long as you're keeping that ratio the same. I have this one here as an example because it's it's very text heavy, and it's then two, kind of put in a certain space where you probably already know why we're, constraining it to that. It was to make sure that the title bar is completely separate, like it is not going to overlap this at all. So I wanted to point out what those dimensions are. See if I can actually pull this up. Oops, sorry. So I have I'm just pulling up a screen ruler so that I can go ahead and measure out. It's about, oh, I have it a bit wider or a bit longer, 800 by 500. That probably makes it a little harder for our experiment here. So I'll go through the process and make a brand new one. But to just show you off of this example, that difference is of about 140. And so I guess if you take off that 100, it's about 40 pixels that the title bar is obstructing, I guess. So, and we'll test that with the 800 by 400. But that's an example, and let me show you how it looks on, oops, sorry. I actually don't have it enabled. Manage content. Sorry, I have this other example here of the don't boo vote. It's about the same height, but the example that I was just showing, this one here, goes a bit lower. So you kind of maximize all the space that you have. Can't remember which one it is titled. No, let's see. Yeah, this should be, sorry about that. Okay. So let's just publish that, and I'm going to jump back to the home page here. With a refresh. Okay. So that's what we get there. And the other reason for the 500 as far as the height instead of the 400 was to give me a little bit of wiggle room in case I needed to slide the image up or down, because that often happens when you're working with a big block like this and you want to make sure that the title and the box has some room in between. It probably also matters, I guess, how big this text or this kind of white box is. And from the top, it's about 20. And the height is no, sorry, I'm trying to make sure, almost 400. So we might have to do a bit of tweaking with the 800 to 400. But with this kind of example, I probably would recommend having a little over, as I said, over the 400 pixels as far as the height. Because if you have it as an exact, sometimes you won't be able to have that extra wiggle room up and down. And as far as the wiggle room, let me show you if you aren't familiar, I think when you are editing a slideshow item, you can enter this through the actual slideshow item, or if you go through manage files and you're editing the image. Either way, when you click on edit, the focal point here, it should be draggable. It's not responding on my browser right now, but the other option is to, if you're having this same issue with the focal point not dragging for you, the numbers are here down at the bottom. So the number on the left will tell you left or right, how far you want it to be left or right. So the lower the number, the further it is to the left. The higher the number, the further it is to the right. And then same thing with the number on the right, but we're going up and down. And higher number, we're raising up to the top. Lower number, you're going further down. And so the numbers are a little bit trickier because it's a lot more visualizing, because the drag around, you can actually see where you're putting it. And we want to visualize it almost like you're moving, I guess, a picture in a window. So the window is already, a 2-to-1. We know it's the 800 by 400 or the 2-to-1 ratio. If you want to be able to drag an image around that, it will have to be a bit larger. And then that's why, with portrait images, it's very easy to move that around because you already have, quite a height there. Okay, so a lot of
Mary's.
yes.
Mary Jo, I feel like I came in the middle of something. So I guess you're in Canva. I mean, I'm confused. Well,
I'm jumping around a
now you're
bit.
in MyLO. Okay.
Yeah.
But before you were in Canva, but could
Yes.
you just give me what the two preceding sentences were before you did that, or how did?
For sure. Yeah. So I was just going over this example that I already have built. It
In
is,
Canva?
yes, and the dimensions I have on it right now are 800 by 500. So
Right.
I extended the height somewhat, and I was just showing off first what it looked like here, and then going here to edit the image in case, maybe when you first upload the image, the focal point is a little too low or it's a little too high and the title bar is
Oh
obscuring.
yeah, very familiar with problems with the title bar. That's for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
So
So are you going to start anew though, and like
yes,
show us how to? Okay, thank you.
yes, I will start a new one.
I have never been able to move that focal point through if I try and edit something that's already, like you're doing. I have to go back out and I go in through the content manager. I go in and then open it up and then it allows me to move it. It's really weird. It doesn't allow me to do this when I'm actually going from the draft. It's
Like when you're
weird.
first uploading?
No, when I'm first uploading, it's fine. But
Okay.
like you're trying to move the focal point through editing, it won't let me do it. So I go back in and open up the image through the content manager, not opening it up from the slideshow page. You know what I'm saying? I
You
go
go
in and I
directly
find the
to the
file
file.
and then I move it around that way.
Okay, yeah.
For
So then
whatever reason, I discovered that it, because I've never been able to move the focal point and it annoyed the heck out of me.
does anybody else have that same experience? That that they know of, because as we said, there's the way to go through like the slideshow item or wherever else you have the image that you're working with. You can go through that content item to edit it. And sometimes the focal point won't allow you to drag it around. And that should be possible. But here through manage files, this is another way. We have the edit as well, and it'll present us with the same, okay, and I see what you're talking about.
See,
So
it
it does
allows you
allow
to
me
move it
there.
around. Yeah, it's really
Okay.
weird.
And I'll take note either way, but I'm curious if anybody else. And Sandy, do you use a particular browser type of computer?
I don't know. I don't know anything. I'm Google. I don't know. Browser. I don't know. Browser. What am I using?
Chrome, maybe?
Pardon?
Chrome?
Chrome. Yes.
On
Google
Chrome? Okay.
Chrome. That's what I use. Thank you.
Amaris,
You
could
You
it
can tell how
possibly,
ignorant I am.
Amaris, could it possibly
Sandy.
be because this just has the one focal point and the other one had the two?
It
You know,
does
the
only
50,
have,
50?
well, that comes up, the 50/50 comes up, I think, because the draggable option is not happening. So it's kind of like a backup. The
What if you took out the 50, 50?
I don't
Just
think
took,
you can leave it that way. We can test that out. But
yeah, because I think if you take that out, then you'll be able to drag it.
okay, let's test that out. Whoops. Um, let's go through here. Okay. So the draggy handlebars come up, but they don't, it doesn't allow me to move, and I don't know if I can save it this way. Oh, I can, but yeah, it doesn't allow me to change it myself. So I'll make sure that
Thank you.
yeah, you definitely want to make it easy to use there. Okay.
Okay, ignorant question for Mary
go
Jo.
for it.
So, if I were having trouble with the slideshow, which you know I do often, and I wanted to make it a little bit longer, are you kind of saying that you can do something with that editing there and change it to like, I don't know, 60/40 or 40/60? Is that what you're saying? I'm not a little confused.
So the 50/50 will tell you if you want it to be shifted to the left, shifted down, up, right, whichever direction you want, you set the numbers up. So it doesn't make it longer. It just allows for this, if I had it originally with the original focal point, the 50/50, the title bar, I believe, obscures this very last line. So then I was able to put the focal point lower so that my image would sit higher. That makes sense. And we'll go through this example too.
Okay, because my issue is just that the slide itself is just too big and I don't see it all. So that's my issue. Okay, thank you.
Why
The-
don't you just start with the 800 by 400 and work
And then
on
we'll add the content in there.
that's 40 up. I mean, just
Mhm.
not do any work. Don't put any images there.
Okay, yeah, let's just get started with a blank one.
So
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 canva.com or something, or?
yeah, I'm sorry, I'm at canva.com and I am using just, the free account
Okay.
right now.
Okay,
I wanted to make sure that it matches what most folks are going to be doing. And then, so what's an example type of thing? I know that most of our posts or our slideshow items are pretty informative, so they're not going to be very simple. So we can make this kind of like a voter education type thing. Let's say maybe there's a forum going on. I'm gonna just kind of go through my typical process because I'm usually using Canva to make our action images, website images, images are going in our email, social media. So I try to be in here as much as I can. So we can add brand colors. Sorry, I'm clicking around a bit.
Well, where did you start though? How did you get this blank page? Where did you go to do that?
Okay, let me start over.
I missed that part.
No worries. So canva.com. I'm
Right.
already logged in, and I click on create a design.
Okay.
Okay.
And we do have to do a custom size because they don't already have. I wish we could, add our preferred size. That's okay. It at least remembers your recent. Otherwise, just type in 800, 400. The pixels are already set there. And then it opens a new window or a new tab with the blank design.
Okay.
And then I typically start out with adding a background. You have the option to go, there's several designs that they recommend or that they have as options. You'll notice that there's sometimes ones with a little crown. So those are for the paid service. But otherwise, there's still quite a few options. There's elements that you can choose to add like graphics or photos, stickers. If you're putting it on social media, you might be able to have movable items like a GIF. But I like to start simple. So again, I click first on the background, and then up here at the top, I click on background color. I'm going to see if I can zoom in a bit. Sorry, no, it only zooms in on the canvas. I can't zoom in on this actual outer screen. But once I click on background color, the menu to the left changes. And on the brand kit with the free account, you can add up to 3 colors there. So that's nice if you're usually using 3 out of the 5. You can at least get a few in there. So I pick one of those. And then
Amaris, what if you wanted to put in another custom? Does it give you the option to put in the hashtag number from our brand? Each one
yes.
of them has. Where do you do that? You
Yeah,
add
so
there. Okay.
it would
Gotcha.
be here, and then if you I already filled my brand kit color palette, but
Mhm.
if you wanted to change one, you just click on it. Or
Mhm.
sorry, no. Oh, you click on edit.
Okay.
And then there you go. Once you click on it, this
Gotcha.
pops up with the hash.
Okay, thank you.
And then same thing up here if you just want to add a new color to the document.
Okay.
And so to point out the document colors, those will change every time you start a new design or a new document. Unfortunately, they won't be remembered. I think the brand kit is what comes up. You may start to have, I think, maybe a recent color palette, like recently used, but I can't recall too well. But so that's our background. So now let's start adding some stuff on top. I like to look up shapes. Sometimes we want to do just a clean cut shape. Sometimes we can go with like a graphic. I try to change it up just depending on how much text there's going to be. So if we're going to try and promote a candidates forum, I'm going to go with a little rounded shape here. And with some of these shapes, usually with the geometric shapes, like a lot of these have the text box already built in. So you'll notice that you can start typing right away. Otherwise, just go to the text and add either a fresh blank text box or a different style or choosing a font from down below. But whichever one you add, oops. Once you add it, the font options will start to pop up and we can change our text. And then I would assume the brand kit option for the font allows you probably at least one to be added. But we do have a recently used, so that's really nice. And then resize the text either by pulling the text box or increase the font manually there. And if I have, a pair of items laid on top, I like to lock them together or group them together. So I just dragged and selected both of them at the same time and I group so that now I can just drag them around together and I don't have to move them separately. And then I'm going to change the font color just to make, whoops, I have to select that just to make it a bit easier. Might be worse. But then you also have effects that you can add. If you wanted to try and make it a little easier to read, shadow, lift, there's a few different ones to choose from. You can curve the text. Let's go ahead and keep adding kind of some filler text. What do I have to pull from? Oops. Well, that might be too much.
Mhm.
Well, we'll play around with it. So I do have quite a bit of text here, obviously. It's a little too much for what we're working with. Let's just condense that down. So I may not keep that full amount of text, but just to get us started. Because obviously we're keeping in mind this is for a slideshow item. We do want to be as informative as possible, but we don't want to overload. Because typically if the person is not hovering over the slideshow, it's going after, a couple of seconds. So they don't have too much time. It's not going to be a full sentence, but we're going to leave it at that. Okay. Actually, I'm going to make it offset and try and maybe make this a little more fun. I'll leave that in the center. So let's look up maybe an element. I'm going to just put directly candidate form and see what it gives us. So I typically like the graphics. Well, it really depends on your project. Photos are super helpful too, but the graphics, when we're talking about building online, um, pictures and things, I feel like graphics are a little more modern. The photos, especially when they're stock photos, don't feel as personable. So let's kind of just keep it simple. So we have a bit of text. I definitely am going to add a little bit more text because we want to have information about time and date. And I think then we can go ahead and see about uploading that. Well, I'll measure it before and then we'll go ahead to getting it on MyLO. Whoops. Let's say, whoops.
Yeah.
Something just so that there's a time, date, and location. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly where I want that to sit. Maybe we'll rearrange these.
Anne-Maurice, are you in
Yes.
your back of your mind thinking, okay, this is a slideshow event, so I gotta make sure, my stuff is not obstructed by that white
I
line that we can't get rid of?
I am. Yeah, I am keeping that in the back of my mind. And I have actually a screen ruler to be able to measure it out so I can give it a better idea. And I'm just realizing now with this graphic that I added, it is unfortunately a pro item. I'm gonna leave it just so we can see what it looks like because I've never actually used one of the pro items on my free account. It does have a watermark, so we're just gonna see what that watermark looks like.
So you can use it, but it's always going to show whose it really belongs to.
Correct. Oh, there's the watermark. So if you leave it black, then you don't, you know, you can get away with it a little better if the graphic is all black. But I guess any other color it would show up.
You're allowed to use it.
But you are allowed to use it.
Okay.
Okay, I think that color looks a little bit better. I feel like I'm not doing you guys the greatest service as far as my design here.
I'll get the point.
But okay, so we're gonna leave it like that. Let's see what the measurement says here. Just making sure. Okay, yes, the total is about 800 to 400.
And if it weren't,
If it weren't, well,
or would it always remain that way? I don't know.
dependent if we added it in as 800 by 400, then that should be the dimensions, as far as the design that we just
So we did that along before previously. Okay.
that's
Somewhere. Okay.
the first step.
First thing. Okay. Got it. Okay.
And I can just show you real quick without actually going through it. So click on create a design, and
Yeah.
then we did the custom size.
Oh, that's right. Thank you.
And so you just drag or highlight the box to see what the size is. How do you?
I don't, unfortunately, there isn't a way in Canva. Let me see because this is a tool in Windows to be able to have a screen ruler to measure the screen.
Oh, okay.
So unfortunately, there isn't an exact, there's only a way to fill the screen and change the view. But if this is, I guess, the best idea that I can give, because there isn't a foolproof tool that I have found that you haven't had to download and have a compatible, device for it. But this right now, I have about 100 pixels of space underneath. Because I'm at about 300. Whoops. Okay. So what I want to do actually is create two versions so we can more easily just play around with, as we had said, the 40 pixels above, and then we're going to see what this 100 pixels does, because the higher you go, the more chance I guess you have to move it around and center it because you'll have a smaller area to be working with. But I want to duplicate this image, so I have the option here to duplicate the page as it is. So if I wanted to just add a page, a blank one, then I use this icon on the very far right. But we've kind of cloned the item here. So with this one, I'm going to drag it down. Let's see about there. And so this time I have about 60, no, about 70. So I want to try this second one first. And okay, let's go ahead and download them together. You can download them individually. So I clicked on share and then download. You can select the pages. Otherwise, if you just click done, you're going to download the zip file of all of your designs. And that's what I'm going to do here. Oh, and the file type is always PNG. That's the suggested file type, but you can change that. And then the other options are for the pro account. But let's go ahead and download that.
How do you know the DPI? Does it just default to 72?
I'm sorry.
How do you know the DPI, you know, of your image?
I'm not sure
What's
what that
DPI?
is.
No, that, well, it's a 70, sometimes it's 72, sometimes it's 300. Is the default here that every image you create is 72 DPI?
I am not sure. And I'm not sure what is DPI.
Dots per inch. So, you know, each of those 40, if you have 72 of them, it's an inch across. But if it's just the resolution of the image.
Okay, kind of a different way to measure it.
Well, it's a resolution. So I mean, you get a photo and it might be like 8,000 by 8,000 at 300 DPI. You don't want that. That's huge. So you want it to get it down to 72, you know, because screens are usually 72 dots per inch. And so you don't benefit from, you want the image to be as small as possible in size. So if you get the DPI to 72, it's going to be a much smaller file that's being loaded.
I see. I don't think that there's a way to control that. As far as the size here, they're only offering, and it's kind of locked. It's only offering the dimensions there. I'm not sure.
Okay.
And then now, unfortunately, the premium image we are not able to use. So that's okay. Let's just go back real quick, replace that. And the cool thing about when you're searching for something, if you jumped out of it, when you come back to that tab of elements, the search will still be there. So let's just find one without the little crown. I kind of like this one.
What do you
So
mean without the crown? What does that mean?
So the little crown, when you hover over the image, it then extends to say the word pro.
Yeah.
That tells you that it is paid. It will, it's part of the premium account. So
Okay. So
that's the watermark
that's what I was confused
items.
about, because some of these you cannot use, but it'll tell you because it'll say professional. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, let's just use this one instead. Whoops.
So I find that Canva projects will export at 96 DPI. They just so I guess
That's their standard.
yes. Okay. If anybody else cares.
Thank you. I need to study up on it, and then I'll be like, oh, thank you even more. But definitely worth noting. Okay, I think I kind of like this graphic better than the other one, so that's actually a plus. So I just clicked it, it dropped in, I resized and dragged it to where I needed it, and that other one I just highlighted and used delete on my keyboard. I'm gonna just duplicate this. And once I drag it up, then it appears, and I don't have to add it fresh and resize it and all that. So let's go ahead and test that out once again. So again, we download the entire zip file. All right, and then they're always just numbered simply. So I do
So
need to.
if you were doing an individual one, you'd still have to go to a zip file. You can't just.
No, it would download just the file,
Okay,
single file.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. I need extract. All right. So now we have both of these in play. Let's go ahead and jump back to MyLO. I could upload them through here. Yeah, let's just do that. I'll get it out of the way. Typically, I would go straight to creating the slideshow item. That's okay. So this one, the second one was the 70, the space of 70 pixels. So let's start there. So we go next. I'll leave the name as is. Filler text there, and just quickly trying to get those settings in just to be able to save it easily. Okay, and let me jump back to the demo site. Manage content. Whoops, sorry. Add slideshow item. Okay. What do we want to call this? Demo candidate forum. All right, so my files, there we have it. We're going to just see what the focal point gives us. And go straight to published and save. Okay, so that doesn't give us the true idea. Let's see really what it looks like. Okay, that's not bad. Especially with us not having to touch the focal point at all. Even the sides, that's not bad at all either. The what do you call those? The dials, I guess. They're not obstructing too much. We definitely could have probably brought in the graphic a little bit more, but it's not obscuring anything as far as the information. So let's just continue and try with the other one just to compare. But I definitely want to be able to make this. I'll share this to anybody who wants this, because then you can kind of use this as a guide when you're creating a slideshow item. If you ever think that you need to, refer back to it and see, okay, that's kind of the space that I need to contain my information to. I'm more than happy to share it. But let's go ahead and do what we just did, but with the other one there. So this one, yes, was with a bit more space, I guess, a bit more white space. Right? Yes. So again, I'm just going to quickly go through the steps to get it into the media library. Okay. And let's just see about a caption. I don't believe it should not slide the height of the title bar up. It should just make it grow further down. But depending on how long a caption is, it could possibly shift it a bit higher. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so kind of same idea, but definitely if it being the same exact message, it's worth taking up that extra space down below.
So what is so the new one said text something on the, like there was another line there. What was that
Oh
all
yeah,
about?
I added a caption just to test it out. But the height, like the starting point, I guess, of this white bar for the title, it doesn't change whether you have a caption or not. So that was part of what I wanted to
Oh,
test.
that's the title.
Uh-huh.
Or that's how you got the demo candidate for. Yeah, sorry.
And then
But I
this is the
wonder-
caption.
But
I
how,
added I
Okay.
added in a caption. Let me go ahead and go back into that. So that was,
The
sorry,
first one, yeah.
it's not popping up. There we go. Whoops. So go back to edit. So we have the title, the slideshow link, and then I added a test caption under slideshow
Oh,
caption.
I didn't even notice that. Thank you.
Yeah, I added it real
That would
quick.
give you a second line of text.
And if you add a slideshow link, that would give you, and I'm just going to add whoever, it would give you a third line. So let's
Oh,
add
okay.
that as well.
Oh, this is new. Okay.
Oh yeah, let's play around with you
Well,
know, the
that
captions
goes
some more.
what goes below it. That's a
Yeah,
little,
that's where I would say be strategic with these items because the or the caption, you can add links and you can add formatted text. So if you are going to have both, I would say reconsider because we see what happens. But
But if you were doing the one previous, remember when you had a little more room? Would it have fit? Would it fit? You know what I mean?
well, it's not about the image. It's only about this white bar down here. So let's rework this and, I
Oh,
do,
got it. I got it. I got
you know
it.
what I mean?
Yeah,
So, but
got it.
let's actually try and make this work because let's say I do have a link, let's say, to the actual candidate form event on our website and we want to promote that. So I have two options. I can either stick with just the slideshow link if I can get all the information, into that hyperlinked text. I would recommend against using just the slideshow link if your information is quite long. If it's a quick phrase, then I would say that's perfect. But once it starts to be a entire sentence and with commas and we're going to want to go down here into slideshow caption territory. So let's play around with that. I'm just going to continue to use that link.
yeah.
All right, so I'm just going to make it simple. The here will be what I want to hyperlink. So you're familiar with our WYSIWYG toolbar here. Paste in my link URL and I'll leave everything else as default and we insert that. So let's go for that and publish since we want to see it straight away. Okay, back to the home page. Okay, so now it allows us to click through and it takes us to that page.
Wow.
So Amaris, can you click on the image to get there too?
No, unfortunately not. It is just the hyperlink. When it comes to though, let's play around with it some more. With the slideshow link, that's where the difference is, and it is exactly that, Sandy. That
Yeah, that's
using the
why I
slideshow
use
link.
it. That's why I use the slideshow link because some people are used to just clicking on an image because they're, oh, I want to get, and they just click on it and it takes it rather than looking at the line below. Okay, so you have to use slideshow link and that
Will be
basically,
a wider range for them to click. They'll have
okay,
yeah, the
okay,
entire image.
thank you.
For sure. Yeah, the slideshow caption will be just that hyperlink. But let's go ahead and show that other option off as well. So coming back. So this time we see it there and we see, whoops. There we go. I don't know why it went away for a second for me. But I just clicked in the middle of the image.
Right. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how much time I have spent trying to resize, redo these slideshow images. This is going to save me hours, hours of
Great.
time. Thank you.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure. I mean, I know it's not an exact like science to be able to say, here's the the ruler and go forth and measure. But hopefully at least it'll be a visual kind of guide.
Mhm.
What if you want to have the photo as the background?
If you want to have, oh, on the Canva image,
Yeah,
you definitely can do that. So if, let's just start with a blank one. So again, we have the background selected. With elements, I just clicked it again and it kind of refreshed it. And you can either, I think, you can just start looking through all their photos or start a search and then go from there.
it's your own photo.
Oh yeah,
That's what I want to know. How do I
let's
use
go
my
for
own
that.
stuff? Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, that is a great
Other
question.
people's stuff that don't fit.
So uploads is where you'll want to go. So this is where I upload logos, photos, whatever I got going on that I want to use in Canva. So let's see if I can find one just to play around with. There we go. Not the best quality picture, but it's pretty easy to upload. I think you can also drag and drop. Let me see if I can. Let's just upload this one. Yeah, so you can drag and drop there as well.
So if the photo's bigger than the 800 by 400,
it will come in large, but you will be able to easily resize it with the like the outer edge. Let's see, I think this one is a large one.
Yeah, show us again.
So I just went through and double clicked on the image through my file explorer and then it
I
just
mean,
pops
about how to change, make sure it's 400 by 800. I mean, I guess that's the whole idea of this.
Well, yeah, that's where you start. When you're first starting to create the image,
Oh, that's
you do
right.
start
That's
with the
right. I
size.
keep forgetting. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Um, the Yeah, the magic switch option allows you to resize, but I think again that's a premium option.
Oh, no, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about that. So if I get something, that I want to use for slideshow, from the league or something, and it's too big, because I can, I add it and I look at it and it's too big, because it's missing stuff. Are you saying I won't be able to do anything with that?
No,
It's
like it's
obviously more than 800 by 400. I guess if it's too big for the slideshow.
I mean,
it should still fit into your canvas because
Okay.
let me double check what size this picture is of our board member.
could you do one that's horizontal, landscape? Because I think, often we have a great big landscape picture that,
Almost usually they are, yeah, usually they are
Okay.
horizontal.
Okay, I can
Yeah.
try this one instead. I know this one is 900 by 400, so for sure it is wider than our current canvas. Let's see what that gives us. Okay, so I clicked upload. It opened up my file explorer. I double clicked that item and it drops it in.
And it knows somehow that you chose 400 by 800 because when you started the session, that's what you chose.
Right, and it does not change on me at all from there.
but let's put it on the slide.
So she
Yeah.
is, yeah.
So
So,
it does
oh,
contain itself within the canvas. So
but
that
you
is good.
could you make it go more so that some of it gets lost?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then drag it around as you want. You can also,
How did you-
sorry, I'm gonna move some things on my screen. I right click on the image and you can make it your background, replace background. Excuse me, sorry.
Hmm.
Once you make it your background, if you double click on it, there we go. If you double click on it, you can then do the same thing as you said, Liz, kind of make it bigger, drag it around to the perfect spot that you want to be showing as the background.
Yeah, I guess this has its limitations in that you have the part in the bottom still has content that you want, that the title and the link will cover.
Oh, right. Yeah, this is not a great image for slideshow, this one itself. But as far as uploading an image that you have, if you wanted to make it a background, you can. Or if you don't want it to be the background and you want it to just be an image on, your graphic, then resize it and place it where you want it to be.
And when you say resize, how do you?
Just by using the outline.
You're just like any graphic.
Yeah, you have the options to move it around, rotate it all around. You can flip it horizontally or vertically. I think you have some filter options. Yeah, so there are quite a few options within just the free account of Canva. And then if you are trying to make a moving, animated item, maybe your email communication support that, or on social media, sometimes that can be supported. Maybe you make your graphic a little GIF instead of a PNG or JPEG. Okay, so I wanted to jump to the YouTube thumbnail really quick. Let me go first show you. I'll open this in a new tab. I have an example already, but again, starting out, we can click on create a design, and that gives us the drop down. We can click YouTube thumbnail from there, but you also have it here. So either option will work to get you started. And it opens up a new tab, and we have a blank design. Okay, so this one, I kept it pretty simple. So I first kind of started with a play button to resemble a YouTube video. That was my first thought. So again, I find a graphic that just doesn't have the crown on it, that's free to use. Place that dead center. And then I think what Maddie had said that she usually does is go to the YouTube video and take a screenshot. So let's just do that. Let's find a league one. Probably should have gone to MyLO. We'll see what comes up. There we go. I'm not going to be the prettiest screenshot because it's just going to be a computer screen, but just play the video to where you want, to take your screenshot, pause it. And then if you don't already know the buttons to take a screenshot, I think there's a website I can pull up really quick that tells you no matter what kind of device you're on. Here we go. So I'm on Windows. I click on, sorry, I'm just trying to get this into the chat for y'all. Okay, so on Windows, I click on, what is that? The Windows button and then print screen. So that takes a screenshot of my entire screen on Windows. The URL that I shared in the chat, take-a-screenshot.org, has Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, Chrome OS, Linux. So I think it covers them all. I have that screenshot. It will take, well, I guess we could probably, whoops, sorry. So that's the example, but let's jump back to the design. So I'm going to actually just upload the entire screenshot. So like I said, it is the screenshot of my entire screen. So it is a little bit more than I'm looking for, but we can edit that image within Canva after I upload. So first I have to find it. I think, no. Okay, quick access should give it to me. No. There we go.
I see somebody said
Screenshots.
screenshot. Hmm.
Here we go. So mine is extra big because I have two screens. But you would, I mean, similar idea. Oops, sorry, I added it twice. So we are going to double click this image because that allows us to crop it. So now we can crop it down, and I definitely can't see that far. There we go. Crop it down to just the image of the video. And you can, if you wanted to make sure your screenshot does not include the YouTube like toolbar, play bar at the bottom, just leave the video running. Because I think on pause, the toolbar always shows. So just leave it running and then take the screenshot as it's playing. And then it'll be just the video itself. So that looks about right. And then I click done. And now I have my little image. And now I right click and set image as background.
Can't you
Oops,
crop from the
it's
bottom?
not the greatest.
Can you crop from the bottom and take
bottom.
out what this part that's
Yeah, I didn't do a very good cropping job, I just realized. So let's try again. This time, now that I have it attached as the background, we're gonna see if I can I drag it around? So double click it. No, I don't think this is the greatest way to crop it. I'm gonna detach it and try again. I think, whoops, sorry. Double click and that enables the cropping job. Okay, so let's see if that gets, there we go. So that, I see. After I crop, it is not remaining. So let's see if I can lock it. No, that's not what I want to do. Darn. Yeah. Okay, so then instead of that, since this is a YouTube video, it should be the size of a YouTube thumbnail. What I first want to do though, because I don't, as I will expand this, this is going to swallow up my play button. So I want to change where it's sitting. So in the layer, we're going to send this either backward, that sends it one time back, or send it all the way to the back. Either way. Let's see if this will work. I think so. Okay, that was probably easier than what I was trying to do. So just make that fit somewhat. There we go, centered all the way. Okay, so I just, once I cropped it, expanded it to fill the background, because otherwise, if you want to attach it as the background, you will have to edit or crop the image outside of Canva, or at least in a separate Canva file, if that makes sense. So this was easier to crop it after we uploaded it, and then just drag it out to fit. And then you can also, as we've done before, change the color of your graphic. If you want it to be more of the YouTube red. I'm not sure what YouTube red is, but that looks kind of close. And then let's go ahead and let's finish the process of hyperlinking it to that video. So then with one single image, it comes in. If you titled it, it will come in with a title. Otherwise, we see untitled design. And save. Come back over. I'm going to just add this into the sidebar. So coming on down to the sidebar. Let's see. So I'm just going to add it up top here. What I like to do, since this is kind of small, I switch it to full HTML. It obviously expands. You can also drag this up and down if you need more space. And then I swap back. Okay, so now let's go ahead and, okay, sorry, I lost my place. So we're going to add a new image. I placed my cursor here and I clicked the return or enter button. It physically did not move, but I see the path has changed. So I'm going to click the eraser button. That sometimes happens if your cursor, or if the last thing you have added is a linked image or anything hyperlinked, it can sometimes kind of get stuck there. So hitting enter, if you don't see it physically jump down to the next line, the eraser will cut that loose. Okay, so let's go ahead and add in that image. Go back to downloads. All right, and quickly upload this. Okay, and then I'm going to leave it as is since we already have the preset dimensions. You could make it smaller by changing it to thumbnail. Let's submit that. It is a little bit larger than I thought. But we know we can resize it there and then let's see. I'm curious now. Sorry. I'm going to add it in as a thumbnail. So I went back to files, double clicked it, and then display as. This time I'm going to choose thumbnail. Submit. Okay. So I could have, done it myself manually, but that is an option. And then the last step is to add the link for the YouTube video. So coming back here, I can either click what is in my address bar or click on share. And this is another version of the URL. This option to share allows you to start it at a certain point too. That's really cool. So if you are trying to start it at a certain point, you first want to pause your video at that point and then click share. Yeah, and then that's where the start time is for you. Let's just test that out. Oh, it does allow you to manually change it once you click it. So that's cool. So if you need to tweak it, that's allowed as well. Copy that. And then we're coming back to our MyLO site. I have the picture highlighted, and I can use either the insert edit link or the link to content. I sometimes prefer the insert edit link. It's a lot simpler and it's really easy when you're just using links that are outside of MyLO. So let's paste that in. Whoops. So that's my YouTube link. By default, since it's a URL outside of MyLO, it's going to open in a new tab. Any links that are my.lwv.org or lwv.org. So if there are links to the National League, all of those would open in the same tab. Go ahead and insert. And then we're all set. One thing that I do like to do with things in the sidebar, if they take up the full width of the sidebar, then it doesn't make a difference. But if they're not, I like to center them. And you could just highlight the items together to center. If let's see, I can't remember. No. So if the styles here, when you try to do what I just did to click center and enable that, if you don't see these items, switch over, what you can try instead is the insert edit link. When you open that up, there's a class option here. So you can choose center from there. So that's a workaround if the styles don't ever work for you. I think for the most part, folks haven't been having issues with that anymore. But this is the class here is there as a backup. It also will help you if the button ever, if it ever shows up like with the hyperlink text not in white, because we all know the button in the red and blue site is a blue button. If you have red hyperlink text like this in a blue box, it's pretty hard to read. And so our system should by default be making that text white instead. And so if that is not automatically happening for you, then try out the class here for insert edit link, try out button there. So that's a workaround if you ever need it. But let's go ahead and test out what we've added with the YouTube. And one thing I probably could have also done, you have the freedom to add, text. I probably could have done a better job of adding information on what the video is. That is a plus where you don't get that with the uploaded, YouTube video. Let's go ahead and save this. I want to publish again, since we want to see the changes straight away. Okay, so looks like a typical image, and then we have it opening up in a brand new tab, and it started off at 16 minutes and 21 seconds, as I had said for the link. Any questions?
Amherst, if I wanted to embed a video in here, for the sidebar, what's the recommended dimensions? I know you go into HTML, and when you embed the video, it comes in at, I don't know, 500 by something or other.
Mm-hmm.
And then you need to change that. What's the recommended size? Because instead of just playing around with it, I'm trying to figure out what the dimension should be.
Yeah, as far as the width, I would recommend 100%. That would be the easiest way to cop out, especially because it'll make it responsive. You won't have to worry about folks with smaller devices seeing a blown out video that's like bigger than their screen. If you were to set, the perfect dimensions for desktop users. So 100%.
Yeah. When I've just left it as it comes in, it goes over outside of the margin, and it looks stupid.
Well, let's
the sidebar, it just doesn't look good.
Right. I'm going to see if I have possibly a site that has a YouTube video in the sidebar right now. Probably not. I know I had that at one point in time, but let's see about adding one in. Oops, went too far. Okay, so same thing. We're just going to play with the area up here. So I hit the enter and I hit the eraser. Let's go ahead and go through. I'm not sure if it'll be easy to find one, so let's just upload the one I have. So I was just cleaning up. That's the direct video link. That's what I would have copied from YouTube. And then it fills it in for me. And I could just save this as is, or, fill out what I need. So this is probably not the way that you were talking about, Sandy.
No,
now that I'm realizing
you
do the embed. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Which I guess, yeah, like you have here.
So same thing, when you click on the share, embed is just one of those options. And I can copy. Whoops, I don't think it copied for me. Click on embed. Okay, there we go. Copy. I can just click that. Coming back over. So let's add this here. Okay, there we go. So we do
There we
have
go,
a static
560
number.
PM. Mm-hmm.
The width, I definitely want to change to 100% off the bat. The height, I'm going to leave to see what it will look like between the different devices.
Oh, so you put 100%. Okay.
Yeah, because
Okay.
that's the way that it will respond to each screen. When we leave it
Okay.
as 365, it definitely goes, it makes, the video this big and then the screen is about this big for the user. It
Oh,
extends it. So yeah,
yeah.
this is the way you'll want to make sure it's good for all user types. So let's test that out. We definitely added 2 versions of that. Okay. So this was the one we added through the upload. Definitely not recommended for the sidebar. This was just through MyLO's web upload. Very easy to do. And I would recommend it for any other, like the actual content, like body of a page. And then here we have the video. So it's not
Ah,
the greatest dimensions for a YouTube video, because our sidebar is probably just not ideal for the ratio that a YouTube video is. Yeah, that's
right. So that's why
not great.
I think it's better just to do the image and then put the link in there. Yeah, that
I
makes
think
sense.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah, when we're talking about smaller spaces,
Mm-hmm.
it's probably better to get away with it that way. And
Gotcha.
you could probably be more informative, as I said, adding some text, because it'll be a better experience for them to either watch it on YouTube or full screen.
Okay.
What if you put them side by side and you actually don't want it 100%? I mean, can you make, I guess you could make it 50%?
Oh, yeah, like if you, let's say you had a page of them and you're trying
Oh,
to make them
yeah.
fill the page. I think so. Um, I have not tested that. Let's see what 50% looks like. It's not going to look great, but this is for testing
You
purposes.
can do 75. I just
I
think that
definitely want it to be noticeable. Let's just try 50 just to see what that gives us. I would imagine, okay, no, it did not center. Okay, so yeah, as long as you are, the only thing though, Liz, I don't know if they will automatically go side by side, because most iframes will just start on the next new line. So if you did want to have them in kind of a like tiles across the page, and have them, four rows or 4 columns and whatever how many rows, you probably will have to use a table.
yeah, I had to use a
Okay.
table.
Okay.
But what if you had 50/50 there?
Let's
Or,
just, I'm
yeah.
gonna copy. We'll just have 2, but I think it's going to start on a new line.
No, I mean just instead of having it elongated the way it is, why don't you just have
Oh,
both
height.
height, yeah, the height
We
and
had
width.
tried the percentage in the height, and it was not the same response as the width. Like it does not translate the same as the width does.
Oh,
And that is 50% of the container. Oh no, that is so tiny. So it does. Okay, now I was incorrect, I believe, because that does look 50% smaller than it was as far as the height. It is pretty adorable. Um, it's possible, and I don't know if I would recommend it, but it's possible.
well, you don't want to watch it like that.
Right. You could say, this is the wall of videos and just give them the tips on either click on the word YouTube or the full screen, because either way, they'll have a better experience that way. But good recommendation, Liz, because then the percentages will help you either way. Oh, and let's take a look at how it would look on a mobile device. So I'm going to inspect. I right-clicked on my screen and I clicked inspect. This brings up the big developer tools, but I just focus on what is the toggle device toolbar, or it's called the device toolbar. And this is your way to toggle it on and off. I have it on right now. You would probably have it off when you came in, so it looks like a typical desktop screen right now. If I want to enable that, I just, re-click that again, or Control-Shift-M is the combo. And that allows me to choose from different devices. So again, this is the default. Responsive just means that it's going to respond to whatever width you are dragging this little window to. And then from there, you have different mobile devices to choose from, like Galaxy, iPhones, Samsungs, Pixel, iPads, Surface, another Galaxy, Nest, some more iPads and iPhone. So this is a nice way to check out your site without having to always look it up on your own iPad or ask other people. You can see for yourself. And let's see, when you're clicking around, it's as you're dragging around with your finger.
Mm.
Let's see where our sidebar is, all the way at the bottom. Yeah, so that is what we get when the width is static, essentially. And then there we have the 50-50. Yeah, like when we have sometimes this can happen with text, images, whatever you have on your site that it is not being allowed to break where the page naturally ends. It obscures the experience for the person and typically kind of makes the rest of the content feel a bit smaller, just because that other thing is so blown out. So this is a way to test your stuff to make sure everyone is having a good experience. And I'm noticing it might not be super exact to what the mobile user gets, but it is a pretty good rendition.
But that's through your browser.
That's through your browser, yeah.
So it depends on the browser.
It depends, but most browsers will have that. It may be different controls, but as far as pulling it up, it should be the same as right-clicking. The word that you will have might be different. Inspect is pretty, I've seen it in Microsoft Edge. So I know it's used in other browsers, but you might see maybe developer tools or I don't know what other kind of wording it might be, but maybe developer console, something along those lines. But they should all have the same option to pull up a device toolbar. For Microsoft Edge, instead of being on the right-hand side, it's across the bottom, I think by default. And so, yeah, it may be a bit different, but most browsers should offer at least that as a minimum, I believe. Any questions?
Do you know what the SI equals after the question mark on the YouTube embedded code? Sometimes it has SI.
I do not know. After the question mark. Oh, like when we have, let's say, when we set up it to share at a specific time.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's like that. I am not sure. Because does this simply work as well? Yeah. I'm not too sure.
I'll Google it.
Any other questions?
So, in concerning the YouTube stuff, I mean, I can't see me spending all the time trying to do that when I can just, put a link in. But I can see how you sometimes would want to have something on the sidebar. So what you were showing us today is really if you wanted to put it on the sidebar? I mean,
Yeah, I guess
mean,
that could be used anywhere though.
but why would you go through all this trouble? I mean, it just seems
It
so much
was,
easier just to do it the way we always do it.
yeah. I can't recall what the um idea was behind it, why it was easier. But since some folks might not be too keen on maybe using the embed code to embed it, and then folks, as we saw, this one is not as flexible depending on where we're putting it. Having the image option was just it was brought up. And so since
Oh,
we were going to talk
okay.
about Canva,
Okay. Yeah, because I like that look. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it gives you the full control to size it to where you want it to be exactly. So
Okay.
um
And if
Like,
it's on the sidebar, it's on every page, right?
that is true. Correct.
So that if somebody wanted it, no matter where they landed, they could click on it and use it. So that might be useful too.
if you want to try it, Jennifer.
I'm not volunteering there, Joe. But no, I mean, I can see why if you had something like see a YouTube about the start of League of Women Voters, and it was on every page, so it wouldn't matter what somebody came and landed.
hmm
They
And
could
even
see that.
even if
Or if it was a meeting mode or something. That's, yeah.
Sure.
I don't.
you can even create buttons, like, if you want folks to click here and, for more information, whatever you're trying to get them to do, um,
Oh,
you
you're
know,
just talking about the left side, the sidebar, generally speaking.
the sidebar, I feel like that's probably the number one place that we think of when we're thinking about, buttons and how to get folks to click easy to the
Yeah,
next place.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I often create buttons where, like, to our newsletters. It's sometimes draws better attention than just putting in the text and using our MyLO formatting of the button, because it's kind of simple. You can use, an image of your newsletter as the background, or add a graphic of
Oh.
your newsletter, and it draws a little bit more attention, and then you can hyperlink it just the same.
Hmm.
The League of Women Voters of Central Delaware County use their sidebar really well. They
Let's check
do
them out.
almost
Oh.
once a month. They do these hot topic lunch programs, and then they have, yeah, you see, they have
Ah,
all their videos, and it's really cool. Yeah. So
and it does look like they're using images.
yes, they are, and then they just have hyperlinks.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
Great. Yeah,
yeah.
and very similar, creating their own button there.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love that idea, because then it is definitely themed out. Like, you can tell this is part of not a series, but oh yeah, they're all hot topics. That
Yeah,
is really
they
awesome.
they do these hot topics on a regular basis, and so I guess people just get used to knowing that's where the most current one is. Yeah, I like it.
Awesome.
So I've been trying to. I like to copy from other people.
That is, yes, no, and please do share. I really appreciate you mentioning them, because anytime that we can know what other leagues are doing, and just to even praise them is one thing, but to be able to say, "Ooh, I like that, and I can do that too," that's even better.
We might have a session on exemplary sites where we can see, get,
And we'll just be traveling them the whole time.
yeah, well,
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed. We always have the cloning option if we ever wanted to, play around with something that we thought was really awesome and try and make it for a demo. But yeah, like I said, if you have any in your mind, then definitely let me know, because folks usually ask, even if it's, our own like board, or new customers that are interested. it's always great to be able to point them to some folks that are doing good.
Well, and sometimes there are things that you don't want to do.
We try not to advertise those as much because we don't want to shame anybody, but
Yeah.
those are, we definitely try and intervene when we can, I will say. We try and help when we can because we're all trying to do better. And I wish everybody was able to attend these sessions, but that's not always the case.
Like this one right now, the slide,
This one.
the text is over. See how it's over the.
And I would imagine this was probably maybe an image given to them.
Yeah.
That's when it's harder to work with. I will say though, if you are given an image like this one would probably be something that I would add. So I would start with a Canva 800 by 400. I would upload this image as we did. Let's see if this upload, when we added this here, I'm going to pretend like this is our slideshow item. So I would drag the image to be pretty much, the size of the background, and then just do what I can to the background to try and make it match to the best of my ability. And then this gives you, again, some wiggle room because you have the white space either above or below. Like you can make it go to one end or have it centered. However, that usually makes it a little easier to work with. It may not be perfect because, again, the content, like this might be just too long in general to actually fit without being obstructed by the title. But it's worth trying this way because then, oops, where were we? Central Delaware. Here, then it's almost like it's exactly to the width and height, and there's really no room to move.
We're not going to go to my page because I have a lot of these, but now that I've learned how to use Canva, I won't make that mistake again.
Well, I think also the idea that really you only need to have 2 lines will improve things, because I have some that are 3 lines, and that really takes up a lot of the bottom.
As far as the text in the image, or
no, at the bottom.
okay.
You put all 3 things in, the title, the link, and then there's something else, whatever. There are 3 different
caption.
Places. Caption, yeah. It gets to be a little much, and if you can just put a link in on the second line, but of course you lose you can figure it out that you can consolidate it to 2 lines.
Right. Yeah, I think the slideshow link does have its benefits over the caption. And it might just be better in general to have a shorter phrase anyway. Folks are trying to move quick nowadays. Alrighty, folks. Any other questions?
Oh, Central Delaware. Is that in Pennsylvania?
Yes.
Oh, I think that's my daughter's area. Chester City. Yeah, all those. Yeah.
Let's see if they've got her in any of these photos.
Unfortunately, she's a mother with too much to do and a working woman, like a lot of us have been or are.
Alrighty, folks. Well, thank you as always.
Feel better.
Yeah, thank you. If we have, more Canva questions or more topics that you want to see, send them my way. I know we talked about talking about exemplary sites, but maybe we can just work that into every session as we go along. But yeah, we'll see what we get for next session. It will be in 2 weeks, so that will be November 3rd. And yeah, for now, I'm in my mind as just a general discussion session. Otherwise, we'll see what comes at me. All right, folks.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no problem. Have a great weekend. And